This is Penny Keener, Stampin' Up! Independent Demonstrator and the original KeenerINKer. Today we're going to be making a Jar of Flowers thanks card. The stamp sets we're using are the Jar of Flowers, the Butterfly Gala, and the Mini Mates. We're also going to be using the Butterfly Duet Punch. We're using the smallest butterfly on there. Colored cardstock is Early Espresso and Whisper White. We're also going to be using the In Good Taste Designer Series paper. There's 12 different patterns and they are double-sided. I absolutely love this paper. You have wood tones, stone, tile, and then also some textile and paint strokes. So we're going to be using part of that. The colors we're going to be using for inks are Bermuda Bay, Mango Melody, Pear Pizzaz, Poppy Parade, which are nice bright colors, and then also the Jet Black StazOn for our black ink. So the first thing we're going to do is color our flowers, which I've already stamped here as well as a butterfly and punched it out. We're going to be using our new water painters. I absolutely love these. So we have 3 different brushes. We have a wide brush, which would be great for background, then a larger pointed brush, and then also a smaller pointed brush. And the water goes into the handles, so you don't have to use a dipping cup. When you first start, you want to make sure your brush is cleaned off. So I have some paper towel here. I'm just going to wipe that on there, and there's no color transfer, so it is ready to go. For my ink pad, what I'm going to do before I even open it is I'm going to take the heels of my hand and press against it. And so when I open it, I have nice color there on the lid. So I'm just going to start coloring my flowers. The more water you do push when you push the handle will give lighter colors. Watercoloring is probably one of my favorite things to do. So when I first started stamping, I stamped everything in black and watercolored. So I don't do it as often anymore, so it's really fun when I can get back and do some watercoloring. So here I'm using my Bermuda Bay on these 3 flowers. And then I also want to do my butterfly in the Bermuda Bay as well. So I'm just going to color the entire butterfly. And then that can be drying while we're still waiting on, still coloring the flowers here. All right, so I'm done with that color. So I'm going to clean it off. So I'm going to squeeze some water and then brush it out so you see there's no more color transferring. I'll move to my next color, which is Mango Melody. Again, I'm going to press it with the heel of my hand, and I'm going to do the center of these little flowers with that. I absolutely love these colors together because they're just nice and bright. And then there's kind of 2 different floral in the background here, and I'm going to pick some of these to do my colors in. I think I'm done with that one. Move on to the next one. Again, I'm going to clean my brush in between each time. And on the Pear Pizzaz, I am going to do all the foliage. So even though there's not necessarily leaves on this one that kind of looks like a fern, I am going to add some color to it. So it's not just a black stem. And these water painters are fantastic for doing detail. You can also use the blender pens to color these in. And there's another sample I'll show you at the end that I use my Stampin' Blends to color. So lots of different options for coloring. All right, I'm almost done with the foliage. And it never fails. It seems like after I get everything colored, I'll find one area that I missed and might have to bring that color back out again. But it looks like I got everything there, so clean it off again. And then my last one is the Poppy Parade. Again, use the heel of my hands to push that color on the top. I could lift it straight off the pad, but I find I really like putting it on the lid. I feel like I can control how much ink I'm picking up with my aqua painter. All right, and doing some of the smaller berries in the background. And then also the big flower I'm going to do with this Poppy Parade. Again, just nice bright colors. Makes me feel like it's summertime with these bright colors. I'm doing a pretty good job of staying in lines, but if you're a sloppy colorer, I find these images look just as good, whether you're very precise or just trying to get some color on. That's one of the nice things that you can do and be artistic when you're stamping. All right, so I have everything looks like it's colored, except I see one leaf I missed. Like I mentioned before, it's once you get everything colored, then you might see something pop out that needs a little touch up. So, all right, and a little more green on there, and it looks like I missed the stem. So good thing I had that color back out. All right, so what I'm going to do with this particular image is I could die cut it out, and I'll show you an example with that, but I'm actually going to hand cut this one. And hand cutting is one of those things that doesn't really bother me to do. It's a great thing if I'm making lots of cards and doing hand cutting. I'll pop on one of my favorite shows and then just kind of do this while that's playing in the background. And you don't have to be pretty precise. I do like leaving just a little bit of a white border around so it's not quite as detailed. And if you notice, what I'm doing here as I'm cutting is I'm turning my paper instead of trying to turn my scissors, so I can get into those grooves. And our paper snips that I'm using, they are the best thing for this job. They are super sharp, very precise, and I have to say I'm very happy that they come with a carrying case, because I've dropped them, and thankfully with the case they have not stabbed my toes before working in my stamp room. So I really enjoy these. In fact, I have a pair of these that I carry in my purse, so when I volunteer at one of the kids' schools, I just bring my own scissors. I've never found that they've had really good scissors there to use. So I almost have this done, and like I said, I am kind of just turning my paper as I go to make it easy to cut out. And get some of that excess off there to finish up. All right, get some of the detail there. All right, now that's done. Let me push that to the side. The card base I'm using is a half a sheet of our cardstock, so it's cut at 4 1/4 by the full 11, so 4 1/4 this direction. And then I've scored it, so usually a folded card would be at 5 1/2, but this one is actually scored at 8 1/4 and then also 5 1/2. So I'm going to do a fold with this. So to fold that, I'm going to use my bone folder. So the first fold I'm going to do is just the half, and then I'm going to take this and fold it back at my other score line and fold it there as well. I'm going to attach my front piece here, which is a wood panel, and this measurement is 2 1/2 by 4 inches, and I'm going to use my stamp and seal for that. And so it is a 1/4 inch smaller than my front panel here, so it gives it an 1/8 of an inch border around. I'm going to add dimensionals on the back of my flower to help pop that up. And I'm just going to put it in the center. I just love these bright flowers on that wood paneling. It looks so good. The inside, I have a Whisper White piece that is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And this is where I'm going to be stamping my words on. It just says thanks. And I want that to show through from when the card is closed. So I'm going to stamp that on the right side. Again, going to use my stamp and seal. And this piece is also a 1/4 inch smaller than the background. For my butterfly, what I'm going to do is fold that in half and then just use a mini glue dot. And if you notice, I put my butterfly on the glue dot and pulled it up. And I'm just going to put that above my thanks. So here's my finished card. It has nice bright colors. It says thanks. And if you want to see a couple different variations, here's one, the exact same thing. The only difference is instead of hand cutting it out, I'm using the Tasteful Labels dies, this shape right here, instead of hand cutting it. And another variation with more steps involved is this one here. So this is with Pool Party cardstock, and I've stamped it 3 times because this is our reversible stamp. So I have the outline of the jar, the water, and then also kind of an outline of the water, and then used our jar punch to punch that out. The flowers, on this particular one, I've colored with our Stampin' Blends and then hand cut that out as well. And then just to add a little extra touch on the jar, I've added a little bit of our ribbon. And then instead of coloring this butterfly, it is stamped on colored cardstock and then punched out. And these remind me more of some fall colors. Please check out my website and subscribe to my channel for quick videos on how you can be a KeenerINKer too.